Hi, this is Aoife Dean and this is the Happy Weight Podcast. Today's episode is Bikini Body Ready and I'm excited about this episode actually. I'm going to try and not sugarcoat things. I'm going to try and not go down into the meaning and the emotions about it all. I'm going to be very much the mindset that we need to do a 180 on our attitude, our behaviours, and therefore which would result in a change to our body, because nutrition alone won't cut it. Like, as in, if you're just controlling nutrition, well then, I don't know, what happens when you stay at a friend's house? What happens when you go on holidays to a strange part of the world that has a limited menu? Like, nutrition and control just won't cut it. But a persona will. A persona where you take care of yourself, you have a lot of self-respect, you have your head held high, you treat yourself like a queen. You do not want damage to your body. You do not want to hurt it. You do not want to make it uncomfortable. You think it deserves the best. You think it deserves to feel well. You think you deserve to feel well. You think you deserve to feel well leaving a restaurant. You should have a nice time with food, etc. So, okay. Sorry. I'm totally digressing now. But anyways, I was talking to a client the other day, right? And she was like, I've a birthday coming up next year and I would just honestly love to feel amazing in my bikini, but I know I should be all body positivity and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, no. Don't get me wrong. Like, body positivity for today's body makes tons of sense. Like, it makes tons of sense to work with what you have and be an amazing advocate for the body that you have and look for opportunities with the body and the health that you have today and the kind of day that you have and make the best of it and not be a victim and not be a fattest, not settle for giving out to yourself, shaming, etc. Just honestly being the poster girl for this size. And I honestly think it's kind of like the more committed you are to changing, actually, the more you can be a poster girl for this size, because it's like, oh, I'm not like flying the flag for this size forever. I'm just being an excellent example of this size while I'm here, because I won't be here forever. It's kind of like, if you ever had to work in like a different department or do a short-term job, you might have the attitude of like, let's freaking go in there and knock their socks off so they're still thinking about how good I was a year later. Like that kind of vibe. Like, we want to do an amazing job of this size while we're here. And the weird, ironic thing about it is if we were to do a crazy good job at being this size, right? If we were to be a beautiful representation of our size, beautiful clothes, a lot of self-respect, head held high, treat yourselves well, not up for mistreatment, not up for body shaming, especially by ourselves, living our life, full life, not putting anything on hold. Like, the more we do that, the less we'd be overeating anyways. So it's like, the more you own your current weight, the more likely it is you're going to get to a healthier and healthier weight. But the other part of it, right, is that it's not that, like, the problem is not that people are dreaming too big about the weight they're going to be or being slimmer or whatever. The problem is people talking themselves out of their dreams. Like, that's the problem. And I heard someone else saying this about like career and life goals and all the rest of it, that like there's an epidemic of people not dreaming. Like, nothing is more harmful than not having dreams and not having a dream to like get your teeth stuck into. And it's that whole thing. And like, I certainly believe it from my whole process of changing that the goal isn't the fun part. It's the person you'd have to become in order to line up with being that goal. And it's also the letting go of the person you were that stopped you from getting that goal, because maybe you don't like being that person anyways. So say, especially with our weight and eating, the person we'd have to be in order to have a weight problem is someone who's up for body shaming themselves, someone who's a bit of a fattest, someone who doesn't have a nice relationship with food or is super judgy about food, super judgy about chocolate, super judgy about crisps. Like, I think we don't maybe want to be those traits anyway. And maybe you don't identify with any of those traits. Maybe you've different traits that have caused eating and weight problems, but they're quite the common ones. So that's the whole cool thing, that like the most exciting part of the goal is the person that you're going to become. So say if our birthday is next May and we want to be like bikini body ready by then, it's like, how much crack would it be to be walking around the place like a slim person between now and next May? Like, that's just good crack. Like, imagine how much crack it would be to open your wardrobe every morning and know that everything looks good on you because you've thrown out everything that doesn't look good on you. Like, that's good crack. And imagine, like, never saying derogatory things about yourself in group situations, like as in only treating, thinking, talking about yourself with respect. And also what springs to mind is, you know, that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That really helped me in a job I was in around 13 years ago. And it was really a great piece of advice because, you know, the typical thing for employees is they complain and they bitch about the boss. And, you know, I don't know, depending on who you've been exposed to in your career, I notice all the top Harley Street doctors that I worked with, they didn't complain. They didn't give out about people. Like, you know, they were just empowered and they were powerful and they were successful. And then people who you've worked with in past jobs and stuff, that, like, the long and the short of it is they're never going to get anywhere. They were kind of always cribbing and they weren't being the change, you know, they were always finding a problem for every solution. But in that book anyway, it says, assume management. So don't walk into the place like an employee, walk into the place like management. And I used to think to myself, okay, well, if I was a manager, I wouldn't want people coming to me with problems. I'd want people coming to me with really great ideas and how they can be implemented ASAP. I would I would like people to make my life easier. So I will just assume the position of management. And it really did help me. I was the lead dietitian there. Like, it was really cool. It made a massive change to my relationship with my bosses and stuff like that. But with this as well, we want to assume the position, of being your ideal weight. Assume the position, that you're there now. And so like I was saying, the problem isn't that, like, dreams are bad. The problem is we keep talking ourselves out of our dreams. We keep being like, who are you to think that you'd ever be slimmer? Sure, you always do the same thing. You're always good for a while and then you mess it up. Or, you know, you were so good all day and then last minute you ate all those things you shouldn't have. And, like, I just kind of feel like we're actually trapped in this story of I was good until 80% and then I ruined the last 20%. And it's like, let's stop telling that story. And let's stop talking ourselves out of, like, I can't change. It's harder for me. Other people find it easier to lose weight. I can't lose weight, whatever. And it's like, stop finding the reasons why you can't have what you want. Like, that is the reason you don't have what you want, because you spend more time finding reasons why you can't have it or you shouldn't have it or you don't deserve it, rather than moving towards having it. And so, like, that saying springs to mind of, you can be magnificent and a work in progress at the same time. So we can be sizes above the size we want to be, and we can be magnificent. Like I said, we can be beautiful, we can be attractive, we can be confident, we can have gorgeous clothes, we can have clothes we feel nice in, we can not abuse ourselves, we can not mistreat ourselves, we can talk to ourselves with respect, we can have a high bar and a high standard for our thinking. And how we think about food in our body. And we can create a beautiful day with food today. We can make the best food memories of our life today if we want to, do you know? We don't need to bring our baggage with us. So all of that is possible today at our current weight. And meanwhile, we can wish for more. We can wish for improving our health. Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a healthier weight. Like, I think sometimes the body positivity message gets screwed up and sometimes people feel ashamed for wanting to be a healthy weight. And it's like, you're allowed to go for whatever freaking dream feels right for you. And if that feels right for you, if that brings, like, happiness to your heart, the idea of you being, you know, a few sizes down at the beach in your bikini, feeling really confident about yourself, cool. That means it's probably right for you. So we can be magnificent and a work in progress at the same time. And like I said, one kind of allows for the other. You being magnificent and you not dropping the bar and being magnificent is what makes the work in progress more likely. Like being magnificent is being a work in progress at the same time. So you being magnificent is making it more likely that next May you're going to be not just like you've changed your mindset so you're always positive about your body, like both. It's both. It's like you change your mindset about your body, but also because of that, you treat your body differently. So your body genuinely is a different size, you know? So I've written a few notes. I can't believe the intro has taken me 10 minutes. So sorry. Hope you got a lot from that. But okay, point number 1, going from powerless to powerful. So this is the thing, right? Like if you're sick of being powerless, if you know, I actually think it's a bit of a blessing if you're bored of yourself, if you're bored of your negativity, if you're bored of being a size that feels wrong to you, fantastic. At some point you'll bore yourself into changing, because we will change when the discomfort of staying the same is actually more than the discomfort of changing, because change is uncomfortable. But at what point is staying the same more uncomfortable? And depending on how many years you've given it, or how many pounds you are overweight, or how many, you know, mean times you've had in front of the mirror, how many sad times with food, whatever, maybe you are at the point where however hard the road to change is going to be, it certainly is more comfortable than staying where you are. And so for that, we would need to have no more blame. So the thing is, look, it's all true. Maybe your mom absolutely did mess you up with food, and so did the PCOS, and so did the meds, and so did the bad breakup, and so did the horrible work schedule, and so did the hormones, and so did the perimenopause, and so did, you know, that thing that someone said to you in 6th class, whatever. It all is absolutely relevant, right? It absolutely all did have a bearing on your eating and weight, but also, now what? Basically, now what? So it's like, though, you know, it's not our fault and it's not but it is our responsibility. So all of those things are contributing factors. And, you know, I'm on meds, I've PCOS, I've a lot of things like medically or historically or whatever that really kept me in that storyline of separate from my goal. Like, how could I ever have a normal relationship with food because of my past? Or how could I ever be slim because of these meds I'm on, or these things that are wrong with me, or whatever? And it's like, no matter what your history and what meds you're on or what your current situation is, I think the thing there is to push yourself to be accountable for times that maybe had nothing to do with any of those things, that you genuinely remember eating stuff that you didn't need, you didn't like, and eating it anyways, you know? Because I remember, even, it doesn't happen to me much because, sure, God, I work in this every day. It'd be very bad if I wasn't aware of my thoughts at this stage. But like, I remember one day walking down the road to my brother's and I was kind of thinking, oh geez, I'm definitely bigger. Like, I've definitely got bigger. And then part of my mind was like, this is it, Aoife, you know, you're like late 30s now, you know, things are changing, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, okay, Aoife, if it wasn't your age, what might it be? And I was like, well, I've actually done less exercise recently than I've done maybe ever. And it's like, okay, cool. That's a solution. That's a way forward. So it's like, basically, never let yourself rest on blame. Do not let the kind of thought stop at, yeah, that's why I'm this weight. It's her. It's that medication. Don't do it. Because the difference between powerless and powerful is, if we're powerful, we're taking 100% accountability. 100%. There's 0% blame on anyone or anything. So these are the things now, like when I'm talking about being bikini body ready, I don't know what size you are. I don't know what size you want to be, but I'm like, this is no joke. I'm saying these are the things you actually have to do if you're very, very serious about being like bikini body ready, being happy with your size, being a different size or whatever. So with that, being crazy accountable to when we're being powerless, when we're blaming something, and immediately twisting it around to being powerful and taking ownership. So that is super important. The next point is going from basically being willing, you know, kind of going from being willing to sulk to being willing to learn, because I kind of think those two things are opposite, right? Like, guilt is us being really blocked from learning. Like guilt is us just wanting to call ourselves a bad person for what we ate over the weekend. That like, it's me. There's something fundamentally broken in me. I am not enough. I will never be enough. Rather than kind of being like, sure, in fairness, it was 3 days before your period started and your breakfast was pretty weak and sure, you'd had a crap week and you had given food no love all week. You had the same boring lunch you've had for the last 15 years. Of course, the crisps were going to come out. Or like trying to find some origin to the overeating. Like that's learning. So we need to be like dedicated on learning, because learning is what makes us move forward. And we're not going to find this in a book. Like there's not going to be a book that knows your individual triggers. So like something like, geez, whenever I'm around her, I feel slightly fat. And I notice I always go home then after the meal and boil the kettle and eat way more. And you're like, oh, it's the stuff I discuss with her. The stuff I discuss with her makes me feel like I'm not in the right place or I'm not enough or whatever. And it's like, you're the only one that can do that work. But like saying, oh, Saturday was bad, that's just being willing to sulk. So we have to be more willing to learn now than willing to sulk. And my next point is kind of almost being able to count the days we're taking off from our bikini body goal. Okay. So I would say the days that we're taking off are the days that we want to wallow. So the days that we are actively choosing to wallow, we're actively choosing to throw our toys out of the pram, to be negative and ungrateful about our body, to look at the past week of eating and only find negatives rather than strengths or opportunities. Like we're willing to see the days we've taken off, because I think that's very helpful, to be honest, because most people, when they're stuck in a weight problem, they're like, I'm always trying to lose weight and I've been trying for years. And it's like, okay, yeah, but we'd have to minus all the days that you're not trying, that you're sulking, because anyways, helping our body is action. It's more actions than thought, but we paralyze ourselves from any positive actions when we're wallowing. Like if we do a good job at wallowing and feeling sorry enough about our own body and being like, well, how could anyone be happy at this weight? Or how could anyone be positive after the eating I've done this weekend? Like whenever we're doing that, it's kind of like, we're paralyzing ourselves. Like that's not the kind of chat that's going to make you bounce off to a yoga class or make a green juice or take a nap or do anything kind or positive or supportive for yourself. Like that's all the kind of chat that just deflates us, that makes us feel exhausted. And like, that's the whole thing. Like when you lose weight and lose a weight problem is that like, it's not just when we're eating less, so we don't have all that heaviness, that like literal physical heaviness of unnecessary food and unnecessary weight, that allows for a lot of extra energy. But I think 50% of the extra energy when we lose a weight problem and lose weight is the not giving out to ourselves. That opens so many doors. And that's why like sometimes I'll be in like week 1 or week 2 or week 3 of a program with a client and they already have oodles more energy, and that energy is already going into like positive actions with their body because they've got rid of a lot of that giving out to themselves. So that's super important. I suppose the next one is forge your own path. Be obsessed with trial and error, right? So this is like blinkers on now. You don't give a hoot how other people are slim. Like not a hoot, sorry. So the things that make other people slim are going to make you overeat. So we don't give a hoot about what other people need or don't need at any time of the month or their period or when they're sad or when they're happy. It doesn't relate to us. So the more we are committed to getting this job done ASAP, the more we have to like absolutely be close to comparison. We only want to figure out our body. We only want to figure out a meal that does the job for us. So a meal that we can have at 10 a.m. and not be thinking about food again for hours. And like, it was delicious. It was memorable. Every part of our mind and body is happy with it. Like that's the stuff we have to figure out. And we have to figure out the meals we always eat that always lead us to binging later on. And then just little things as well, being okay with who we are, I suppose. Like, I don't know, this came up when I was talking to a client earlier, but like, I have all these preconceived ideas of the day I'll be slim, I'll be an absolute fitness bunny and I'll be able to exercise in the morning. And it's like, nope, never happened. Or I'll be super dedicated to food shops and making all my own meals. Nope, never happened. And another one I used to give myself a load of grief on was like, I won't snack as I'm making my dinner. And it's like, that also never changed. So I think half of it is like, you just stop giving out to yourself. So it's kind of like I was saying, are you willing to study yourself or are you just willing to sulk? And there's a little bit of that as well. It's like, are you really so keen to be giving out to yourself all the time? Or do you want to learn how you tick, you know, or do you want to just let it go and accept that you're different? Like I had a chat with friends about this the other week because I can be a bit of a two-phase sleeper where I'll go to bed and then I'll be up for 2 or 3 hours in the morning or like kind of, you know, from 2 to 5 or whatever. But sometimes I can sleep until 8, you know, because I'm self-employed and my calls mightn't start till 9 or whatever. So maybe I'm a two-phase sleeper. Maybe I don't need to give myself grief for waking up in the middle of the night or thinking I'm doing something wrong or not enough. And it was the same with snacking while I'm cooking. You know, then I kind of made my peace with it that like, yeah, so maybe I will have crackers and cheese as I'm cooking. And maybe I'll be picking olives out of the fridge and having bits and bobs. And yeah, maybe I will be full by the time the meal is cooked. And that's grand. So maybe I'll have a side plate of the food with whoever I'm eating with and have the rest for my lunch tomorrow or dinner tomorrow night. Sure, no harm done. So yeah, just, you know, being willing to see that you're unique and questioning all the shoulds, basically. Like, why should you be like everyone else, you know? And then the next one is daily constant practice. This is actually the biggest one. I probably should have started with this, but 5 is my lucky number and this is point number 5. So there you go. So basically walking around the place like you're your ideal weight, like this gives you a lot of clarity. I think it gave me a lot of clarity anyway. Like if you're walking from your kitchen to your bedroom as your ideal weight, if you're walking down Patrick Street as your ideal weight, if you're at a brunch at your ideal weight, it gives you so much clarity on even how you would order. So at your ideal weight, you would just be interested in having a nice time. You'd be interested in, like, you know, feeling well, having beautiful taste of food. You wouldn't be like, oh my God, this is a bad day or this is a good day. That's not how someone who's at their ideal weight thinks. And equally, just what you would or wouldn't be thinking. Like if you're walking down Patrick Street at your ideal weight, like you might notice so many thoughts that are coming into your head that won't fit anymore. Like they have to go. They will not fit with your new persona. You cannot take these thoughts with you if you're becoming your ideal weight. So doing that mini practice, I noticed even if it's for 10 seconds, because obviously our attention span will go. But you know, it's little things like we'll sit up straighter, we'll raise our chin a little bit more. Like we might even be slobbing on the couch, but in a slightly different posture. So keep testing yourself, because honestly, I think this is another reason why guilt and looking too far backwards is such a bad idea, because we've so much work to do. Like as in, okay, like you're going to be your ideal weight and you're going to be having a fry with your family on Sunday mornings. How is that going to look like at your ideal weight? So you're not a binger, you're not a dieter. How is that going to look? Or you're going to go out with friends, but it's a night that like you're super exhausted. So having more than one glass of wine would be throwing yourself under the bus. But these are friends that historically you drink a lot with. So what will it look like, you know, to take care of yourself on a night like that? To only have one glass of wine, but, you know, not bring loads of attention to it. And not lose the friendship or anything. You know, like we've a lot to figure out now, this new version of us in every situation. So I think that daily practice of genuinely spending as many minutes as possible of your day walking around at your ideal weight, like, and building up those minutes. And then kind of comes into that as well. But your goal is a persona. Like I said, you can't control what food is around you every day. And you also can't control your hormones, your energy needs, your emotional needs. But we can always have a respectful persona. And that's ultimately what being a healthy weight is that we don't throw ourselves under a bus. We're not willing to eat substandard food. We're not willing to have a bad relationship with food and just stuff stuff down mindlessly and not even remember eating it, not even being grateful for it, not even being basically awake eating it. Like, we want all that to go now. We want, that really positive persona of like basically like a bloggable persona with food, like bloggable, like you are just touring around the world or touring around your life every day being like, what's this? Ooh, I'm going to taste and experience this and feel well after it. Like, you know, always using food as a positive and always knowing that there's more around the corner, there's nicer around the corner. And just being ultimately a food lover rather than a food hater. So a food hater is someone who's always willing to find fault with food, feel ashamed of food, guilty of food. And I love that saying, you don't fight darkness, you just turn on more lights. So we don't need to get to grips with why we feel guilty, why we feel a regret. We just need to pour love into everything we eat, you know, like, dear lasagna, whoever made you, I hope they're very happy somewhere. You know, just, I know that's over the top, but, well, we're pretty over the top, negatively speaking, as well with food. So why not go the whole other extreme about being like, thanks be to God for cones. I love cones so much. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it is, just pouring your love and attention into everything you eat as you eat it. It can only have positive outcomes because you realize sometimes something can be lovely and come to an end. Like, as in, a cone can be lovely and it can have created a beautiful taste in your mouth and a lovely feeling in your belly. Does that mean you need 3 more cones? Does that mean that you need to go on a whole day of a bad phase? Not at all, really, actually, because it's quite nice that this cone has done all the work. This cone has created the lovely feeling in your belly. And it's safe to stop here because there's always going to be more food later and tomorrow. So there's no downside to loving food more. It actually makes you more awake and more able to realize when the moment has passed now. And yeah, the last but not least, I suppose, kind of said it before, is force and practice confidence. So it's kind of like, if you want to be awesome at piano in 3 months' time, you'd want to be playing a bit of piano, you know, this week. And you'd want to be better at piano in 2 weeks' time than you are now. And you'd want to be better at piano in 2 months' time than you are today. And there'd want to be like a growth kind of scale. And so I kind of think with the confidence as well, like, we do way too much hiding behind our weight. Like, people hide behind their weight for so many things. Like, people are like, I'm not starting a business until I lose weight. I'm not going on that holiday before I lose weight. I'm not going to start internet dating until I lose weight. Like, so many things. You've no idea. I hear them every day. But, you know, just that whole thing that like, well, I couldn't be confident today. How could anyone be confident at this weight? And then it's like, nah, you're not allowed to let yourself off the hook like that, because for every day that you say that, you're becoming rustier and rustier. So in actual fact, it's like, I want to be freaking confident at the beach next May. I want to be so confident at the beach next May. So that means I'm going to have to go against the grain this week. I'm going to have to go against the grain today and force and practice what it would be like to be a confident person this week in situations where usually I wouldn't be confident. And if that's to be the case, what do I think a confident person would say to themselves before meeting a triggering person? Or what do I think a confident person would say to themselves and not say to themselves before they give a presentation at work or whatever? So whatever the thing is that you need to up your confidence at, like maybe you're going to a wedding this week or something that you have to get like dicky dolled up with or whatever. It's like, no. You're not going to settle for the confidence you had before. Nope, not happening, because we're going forward, we're growing. So you're going to think in a new way that allows you to be more confident, and you're not going to settle on the future or being slimmer to fix something that we can actually improve on today. So yeah, I hope that was heavy hitting enough, but you're well able. And, you know, all of this stuff is kind of wooey, very law of attraction, very Rhonda Byrne, The Secret. But it's really cool that so many scientists like Joe Dispenza, Mel Robbins, there's that Tara one. She's amazing as well. I don't know her name. She's Tara, crazy surname. She's been on Lewis House. But there's so much science backing all of this up, and we are able to change our mindset. We are able to think new thoughts today. You are the only person deciding your thoughts. You can think differently, which will allow you to feel differently, which will inevitably make you treat yourself and your body better, which allows you to become healthier and your ideal weight. I hope you found this episode good, and wishing you lots of good luck and love and mwah, 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 mwah.